Hello, Aquarius. How's everybody doing today? I hope that your morning is getting off to a great start. I'm really looking forward to taking a look at all of the energy coming through for February. And yeah, I'm also going to be using a new deck of cards with you today. So thanks to everybody that's done super chats and given contributions. You helped buy this deck today. I'll show it in just a second. First things first, I would like to introduce myself in case you're brand new. My name is Nicholas Ashbaugh. This little furry guy here is Apollo. Like I said, we'll be looking at the sun, rising, and moon for Aquarius. You can actually use it for other aspects of your chart if you happen to know it, and you can cross-watch or watch on behalf of someone that you love. So this is a very open and welcoming forum. I separate the reading into a few distinct parts, which I want to get into before I begin. So the first portion is just basically a psychic download. I show up every morning and meditate before a reading and do some automatic writing, and then I pull what I see in dreams and meditations and share it with you. So the first part is that. Then we'll look at the Celtic Cross, and I let the Celtic Cross really take on any sort of shape that it wants to. So if it wants to kind of go in the direction of work or love or personal development, it will go there. And to cover off all those other areas that I know you care about, we'll expand the forecast afterwards to look at health, wealth, love, and destiny. And that way, really you get a chance to see all that you need to without me trying to force the Celtic Cross to go in any direction. I know, buddy, he just woke up. And the latter portion really focuses a little bit more on soul development. So as we start to look at what's coming through for the month ahead, oftentimes there's a few things in the soul that we need to work on. So this could be a fear or an anxiety, or it could also be something that you could embrace, a really great opportunity. So as we go into that soul space, I usually will look at a past influence, something going on now, and then kind of like a wild card for the future. And then we'll meditate and bring everything together using a singing bowl and guided meditation. So really, I hope you enjoy it. I like the format, and I think you'll get a lot out of it today. Okay, let me begin. And actually, one thing before I get started, first of all, just extending gratitude to my moderators, Maria and Dakota. Thanks for showing up. And I want to go into a little bit about how I deal with Super Chat. So Super Chat, when I'm doing a general reading like this, is really just a way to show support. This month, I'm using a really cool deck that you guys helped me get. It's called Ethereal Visions. It's got a gold leaf on it, which is kind of cool. So I'll be using that in just a second. And whenever you guys give a little bit of extra money my way, I try to put it back into supplies. Also, just little things like this, all of the all of the note cards that I use. So thank you. If you want to show support, you can click on this button. You can give a live tip while I'm reading, and I appreciate it. There's a lot of other ways to give back, and I'll go into those at the end of the reading. But I just wanted to kind of say I don't take live questions here. I do, however, do some interactive sessions on Instagram Live, and I'm going to start doing more of those. So you should follow me on Instagram if you haven't already. I'm going to give you a list of a link to all my social media sites, so you can go there and follow me on Instagram. And I'm going to start to do one here as well on YouTube. I'll probably call it like a fireside chat or something like that, just because we can sit down and talk and I can kind of interact with the audience a little bit more. That way, when you show up there that it will be more sort of back and forth. I really don't usually take questions about your life. Usually it's more about intuitive development, things that are going on, even questions about tarot or things like that. But it'll be more sort of like a casual intuitive chat, if you will. So more to come on that. You should like and subscribe if you haven't already so you can stay in the loop. All right, let's get started. So these are the channeled messages for the month of February. The way that this works, though, I've got a lot of messages in front of me, and they all came through this morning. For those of you that are showing up right here and right now, a lot of these may resonate because you're already in the energy. You're already starting to make the changes happen. So they may resonate now. For some of you, it might take a little bit of time for them to show up. So just allow yourself to absorb it and see what happens over the next 6 weeks, because we're doing this a little bit early. All right, your nature totem today is really we've been going into astral themes or kind of outer space themes. It's the supernova. And I think most of us know what it looks like, but I'll pull a picture up here in just a second. The cool thing that I like about supernovas is they are both creative and destructive. They're ends and beginnings, and they're kind of gorgeous when you look at them in the night sky, or if you look up anything on a space or astrology website. So with a supernova, it's basically when a star is at its end of its life. And the mass starts to kind of collapse in, right? The core collapses a little bit. There are other forms, sometimes if there's a black hole or if there's another star that starts to spiral in. There's a lot of different ways supernovas can form, but ultimately it's not, it means the end of the life for that star. But it's also beautiful and creative as well. This galaxy, I should say this solar system that we're in right now, is probably the remnant of a larger star. The heavy metals that you see, iron and gold in particular, and some of the other elements, even just oxygen and helium, of course, because that's part of it, it's all from the star. And so we are constituted from that same star dust and that same star stuff, which is why I was inspired in my book to kind of pull in a lot of like the idea that, you know, stars could think and breathe and walk. So we are proof of that, by the way. The message from the supernova totem is basically that every end gives way to a new beginning. So sometimes when we see that a relationship is over, a job has ended for any number of reasons, that we need to move, that you just feel stuck and you know that the next step is to move or to move on. It's scary, but it also is amazing, right? Because it is a creative force. So for the creative force to happen, you have to release first. You have to kind of submit to that supernova. If you're holding on to something out of fear, imagine what you could do if you were redirecting all of that energy about being afraid of what might happen, what could happen, what people will think, et cetera, into doing something new, into really being into a powerful place of creation. So although sometimes it's more comforting or comfortable to just sort of sit in what's predictable, you're also holding yourself back and you're not kind of stepping into that new role. The other thing that a supernova reminds us of is the magic that is part of repackaging and experimenting. And you can keep rinsing and repeating this until you get it right. Anybody that does any sort of art, if you compose music, if you're a sculptor, if you're a painter, if you're a writer, you know that very rarely is it the first draft that is perfect. You usually need to go through it a few times, or you discover something as you're going through the act of creation. So as human beings in day-to-day life, in relationships, in jobs, in everything, the same is true. We don't get it always right on the first try. Sometimes we do, and that's awesome. But other times we have to learn and we call in lessons. So just understand that everything you've done has set you up for this new opportunity, and you can handle this one as well. Starting over or starting fresh, it can actually be a really liberating experience. You are not tethered to a sort of like version of yourself that you once were. You're not held back by what people think around you. And for those of you that are either in a relationship or in a job that you don't like, and you kind of wish your time away, first of all, it's too precious. And I think we've learned that over the past couple of years with COVID-19. Time is a gift and it is finite. Our souls are infinite, but time on this planet is finite. So you should be using that resource wisely. And you could be making strides towards your next big thing instead of wishing for 6 o'clock to happen, wishing for Friday to happen, wishing for a vacation away from all of this. If you are constantly looking forward to 6 p.m., the weekend, your next vacation, a sick day, things like that. I actually worked with someone once who said, I can't wait to get sick so that I can just get some time off. And I thought, are you serious? That is a crazy thing. This was years ago, like a decade ago. But I thought, no, that's not right. So if you are wishing for these crazy things, then it's time to reevaluate what's going on. You are kind of losing yourself, your momentum. If on the flip side, you are on that discovery, you've gone past it, don't give up, because it takes a little bit of time to ride that wave of creation. This galaxy was a bunch of dust before it was what it is now. So basically, the sun is the first thing that kind of starts at the center, and then there's this accretion disk of dust that spirals around this newborn star. All the elements in space basically just start to kind of pummel in on each other, and so things clump together. The sun begins it, and then out of this dusty chaos, you have beautiful things that start to take shape. Mercury, Jupiter, Venus, Earth, the sun, all the moons. So it takes time. It took billions of years there. It won't take that long in this lifetime, but it's going to maybe take a minute or two for you to get where you're going. Don't be afraid to be the solar energy, though, at the center, and just to see through the dust, keep manifesting what it is that you want. That's the Two of Wands. They hold an earth for a reason. It's the act of creation and breathing in the energy. So you have to see it and you have to work towards it first. Talking about back into the energy of the supernova, that's the explosion of a star can create a heavy metal like gold. So one of the things here is that you have the Midas touch. Things that you put your time and energy into are going to be well worth it. And for those of you that might work in a sort of administrative capacity, maybe you're an admin assistant, secretary, a nurse, someone that's helping someone do something else, I just want to let you know you can also do great things for yourself as well. And if you choose to kind of embark on education, furthering your craft, or going to the next level, even in that particular path that you're in, this is your time. I just see movement and opening and expansion, because that's ultimately what the supernova is doing. You have to be more than what you were, and that's why a supernova happens. The only thing here that's important, whether you're continuing on this path or you're trying something new, is that you have to see your own value. You have to believe. That's how magic works. If you believe in the magic, then it works. It's going to happen. If you don't, then you're also manifesting, but just in a way that you didn't expect. You're manifesting the exact opposite of something happening. So you can manifest nothing or you can manifest something. So choose something and really embrace it. Okay? It's important for you to love who you are and what you do. I've been saying this a lot over the past few readings, because the important thing here, think of the Lover's card, think of the Magician card, a very attractive energy there. It creates magnetic energy that calls in a like-minded person or a like-minded activity. So the more you have this feeling of things are good, I'm ready, this is happening, everything's okay, then the more it actually starts to happen in your life. And we'll talk more about that affirmative energy in just a second. But before that, I just want to remind you that if there's someone in your life or something that is making you feel less than, less valuable, less beautiful, less worthy, that less than energy needs to be released as well, because that is actually either someone who's jealous of or controlling of or not embracing your ability to grow, right? So I think that's super important. Because many of you are great at thinking about things. Aquarius is a great sign for being able to see things from different angles, right? And I think one thing here, and also there's a nurturing energy with your sign. Just a reminder that you can't do everything for everyone, even if you know how to make it happen, because you're intuitive. You wouldn't be here if you didn't have somewhat third eye open. So this is your chance to sort of let other people step up. So you can sometimes just sort of say, hey, I have an idea. Do you want to talk about this? Or have you ever thought about this? You put it in on their plate or in their lap and see if they want to move with it. You don't have to force them to sort of do something or see something. The most important thing is just to help awaken, help have a discussion, and then it's really their free will, their decisive action is going to bring something into fruition. The other thing here is, if you are always holding up the weight of other people, then you're not going to be able to get to the next level of development as well. So let other people do what they're supposed to do. And if they fall short, that's their accountability. They're going to have to deal with that as well. So it's kind of like a Band-Aid, which I have here. You can't pull it off immediately. You could just sort of gently ease into that. And then eventually it's like, it's time to heal. It's time to move on. Okay. Focus your efforts and your energy into things that reciprocate your efforts. So if you're working at a job and you're not getting recognition or support, or there's no career development, if you're in a relationship and your partner isn't supporting your particular growth, you're just helping them, or if you're just doing something and it feels like you're spinning your wheel, you need to spin the wheel of fortune, not the wheels on the chariot. So it's time to go in a different direction, basically, and move on. A lot of change energy for you. So what I'm seeing for you, the big theme so far is change, self-worth, and a decision to make that happen in your life. One of the ways you can do this, it's simple, but sometimes we have a difficult time working on this because it's easier to believe the bad stuff. I like to quote that line sometimes from Pretty Woman, but it's better to believe the good stuff is what I would say. Be positive and affirmative in your thoughts about yourself and the future. I had someone in the past couple of weeks that booked an appointment with me. And when I was reading the final paragraph, there was all this stuff like, is it always going to be this bad? Will I always be doing this? And I just feel like there was all this sort of energy of, I just feel like nothing's happening and it never will. And I'm just going to be here with my pet or whatever. And I thought we have to kind of move past that. If you get into the energy of it's never going to work and nothing ever does, it's almost like you're putting the reverse of a blessing on yourself. You're manifesting the stagnancy. So let's make it more of a benediction. And the way that you can do that is by using yes. I talk a lot about the power of no, putting up limits, saying that you don't want to do something. You also want to say what you want. Super powerful. So with the power of yes this month, you would say, yes, this is happening. This dream that I want, this relationship that I've called in, this opportunity that I've been working on, it's happening and I'm ready and I'm present. I am ready for this and I am also worth what I've called in. I believe that I am a good match for whatever I'm meeting up with. So yes, thank you. I should also say yes and thank you because we need gratitude as well. But I'll just kind of remind you to say that each time I look at that. And then as I was writing these cards, an old song from like when I was a kid popped into my head. The band is Heart. It's one of the few songs that I think, was it Nancy was the sister that usually played guitar. Annie was the one that usually sang, but it was These Dreams, right? And she's talking about kind of like this combination of being in this dream world, but also kind of like in her waking world, she's always thinking about her dreams. That's the footnotes version of it. And I think that as I was thinking about the song, one of the cool things about dreams, and I use dream work a lot, is that the truth always reveals itself, whether you want to see it or not. Truth about yourself, truth about others, people that might be trying to pull the wool over your eyes, you're going to see the truth in the dreams. So I want you to really pay attention to either your dreams at night or your dreams in your heart and your mind, the figurative sort of dreams. That's the true you. That's what has always been. That's always what will be. I want you to breathe life into that. We talked about like one of the signs this month had a dragon. It's almost like that. You're going to breathe the energy into it and send it into a real orbit around you. Since this month you're the supernova. So you're going to create, you're going to become that star, that sun at the center, and you're going to pull these dreams into your reality, right? The time is now. The question is, are you ready? I think you are. And so I put, the time is now. You are ready. What are you going to do this month about your dreams? How are you going to bring things closer to reality, right? So if there's something that you've always been wanting to explore in your life, we always have a fear holding us back about something like, well, what will people think? How long will it take? But I want you to just to start to take a step in that direction and don't worry about it. One of the biggest things that I get when I'm coaching or reading for somebody on a one-on-one basis is a fear over starting over. That, I'm too old, I've worked too long, I don't want to wait that long for it to happen. Well, the cool thing is once you step into something powerful, particularly a soul path, it oftentimes just takes off beyond your wildest dreams. So I think you should just sort of allow the universe to surprise you. If you don't try it, you won't know. And if you don't try it, you'll regret it. And if you're working and waiting for the, quitting time to happen, the end of and nowadays we're kind of working from home, so it really never stops. So if you're just waiting for the work to stop, that's a signal that you're not doing probably the path that's best for you. Work and passion don't always intersect, but if you can allow that intersection to happen, you're going to be much more powerful at what you do, much more influential and also just satisfied. So I feel like trying to find a way where there can be a nexus between the two, that's what I hope for you. And that's what we're going to try to look at today if we can. All right. So let me neatly stack up these cards and we'll get ready here to look at the Celtic Cross. Again, we're looking at the month ahead, but the way that this works is whenever you watch it, you're probably going to get something out of this. And some of the things may take a little bit of time. So give yourself time and space. Watch it again if you need to. You might get something on the second listen. I'd like to welcome everybody here. It's good to see you. I see some new faces and we have a lot of folks here today. So it's always nice to have a busy room. Okay, let's look at the cards here. And I already know there's going to be questions about this deck because it's kind of cool. So the deck that I'm using again is Ethereal Visions. And there's a link to it on Amazon. I haven't had a chance to put it on my website yet. right, Aquarius, let's see what's coming through for you. Two that are sticking together, but we'll leave that. Okay. Thanks everyone for giving me a moment to get everything set up. We're going to start with the Catalyst card. And this one's reversed, but I'm going to pull it upright so we can see it. So first of all, in yoga, this can actually indicate the Kundalini, which is basically an awakening that happens from the base of your spine and it kind of moves up all the way through your body. It's a psychic awakening. It's a spiritual awakening. It should happen in that order. Sometimes people will have sporadic awakenings, maybe in the third eye or the crown, but it's better if it kind of moves up. I actually had a crown awakening before the sort of full body was ready. So that can be a little bit discombobulating. Literally, you kind of can get a little dizzy or overwhelmed. So yoga helps. And I started practicing Kundalini yoga after that so that I could get all of the energy systems equal. And so first and foremost, if you don't practice yoga, be a great thing to do. We actually see the energy of the crown completely open on this person too. And it's sort of like they're already out there in the ethers. So take time to meditate, take time to relax and to dream, because that's part of your message today as well. Because if you don't know who you are, what you're trying to do, and where you're trying to go, it's really hard for the universe to set up synchronicities for you and for you also to be able to grasp onto that. That's really what luck is. It's when, opportunity and preparedness kind of meet, and then you're willing or ready enough to kind of go for it. So really focus on meditating on your purpose, on your path, on your dreams. And you're not going to necessarily get it the first time. I mean, I'm lucky in my 20s and 30s, really in my 30s, that's when I kind of figured out what things were, what I wanted to do. And now I'm in my 40s, I'm ready for that. So it takes time. But I think when I was a kid, I was going all over the place on trying to figure out what was what and where I should be focusing on things. So I think for you, the message is give yourself time. Don't freak out about having to have all of the answers at once. It might come to you slowly, but when it does, trust me, you're not going to need a reader. You're not going to need to question it. You're going to have this feeling like, yes, this is what I've been waiting for. I'm really ready for this. So I think the important thing for you right now is to focus on that. This is about power. And so the other thing here is that power doesn't always have to be exhibited in a verbal or a physical sort of way. There can be a subtlety to the power and to the way that you hold that power. So I kind of look at this as a king or a queen energy, where the person is mature enough and confident enough that they don't always have to kind of like whatever, like the snake would do, kind of snap. So I would say really know how and where to yield your power and how and where to speak up, and that's going to be important. This is reverse, which is showing me some of you need to focus on grounding this month. Things could feel a little bit heavy. Things could be a little bit overwhelming. So focusing on grounding yourself with the earth, that's going to be key. All right. And then stretching is important as well. We see the coiling of that snake. So I would say everything when it comes to health, you should really be working with a doctor, of course. But a lot of us are compressing our spine because we're sitting and doing Zoom or YouTube and things like that. So take time later today, if you can, and stretch, even if it's on the floor, kind of stretching out and making sure that you're basically getting everything decompressed a little bit, right? So let's move into the center card here. What a great one to come through, especially since we were talking about supernovas. So the card itself is the Fool, and the Fool, of course, is new beginnings. And this is a super happy Fool here. He has like a parasol. The dog is chipper. The interesting thing with the Fool is we never know how far the journey is. Is this just, skipping to another stone, or is it a really deep fall? With the card reverse, I would say one of the important things here is to just think before you leap, like do the preparation work. I'm so happy that he's not worrying about things, but I also think just a little bit of preparation is good, especially if you have an interview or if you're trying to create some sort of a positive change in your life. Overwhelmingly, the energy of this card is very positive, and it's about not being afraid of the unknown. See it exactly as we were talking about, as a brand new beginning, as a new start. With the reversal of a positive card like the Fool, I would say you just want to watch timing. I think that you could make a misstep, maybe even a social faux pas if you do something out of protocol. It can just basically be a misstep. Physically speaking, pay attention to your legs and your joints. Maybe when you get up, you could kind of lose your footing a little bit. This isn't the tower, so I'm not overly worried about it. It could just be a little bit of balance issues. So get your balance figuratively and literally so in your life. So if you feel out of balance, focus on grounding and focus on what you're afraid of and try to find ways to feel like even just work-life balance is where it needs to be. It's being crossed by the Page of Cups, which is also positive, and this is in a crossing position, so it's neither upright nor reverse, so we're going to read it as a beneficial card. So this is, again, look at how she's looking at that cup. She's holding out what she wants and thinking, I'm really excited about this. This is what's drawing me. It's kind of like a proverbial carrot on a string, but she's holding it. She's creating the carrot on a string, right? So in this particular message here, I would say, know what it is that you want to create and really embrace that and think, I have to go after this. This feels exciting for me, right? And open yourself up to love and to new opportunities. So if you're single and looking, it's a great time for love to come in. And the Fool tells me that it could be a lot of fun. If you're in a relationship, it's about getting back into the playful energy and not overthinking it, not being so serious. The Fool isn't really serious. So I think it's about just having fun with each other if you can. If you're single and happy, then your carefree attitude is actually something that's going to draw people into your life. So that could benefit you in business partnerships. You can use that charisma to pull people in. And I often say, you're just going to have some people come around you. So try to have fun with it. I didn't get any hermit energy here, so you can still be single and just have new friends coming into your life. One of the things to work on in the deep past here, for those of you watching live, this is probably something that might be coming through at this moment. The Four of Pentacles can be a somewhat limiting energy. You're clear that you have what you need, but you're afraid that you might not have enough in the future. And sometimes when it comes to literal finances, it can be sort of scraping by month to month. So for those of you that are underemployed, unemployed, looking for work, or at a job where you're not getting enough because they're just maybe not very generous or they're not appreciative, this card is a reminder that that is one moment in time, but it's not an indication of your actual worth. It's the present financial or resource flow. So what you want to do is put out this feeling of like, okay, I'm going to build on this. I'm going to find somewhere or something where I can maximize this, because I feel very good about your financial situation, because in the crowning position, if I can pull this card up, it's the Nine of Pentacles, which is slow and steady growth. We don't see my favorite little snail in this, but it's here nonetheless in spirit. Even though the grapevines that we see, it takes time for those grapes to mature, right? We take a full season. And it often takes many years for them to get to the point that they can yield enough for wine. So I like the way they've illustrated this. So Nine of Pentacles is independence. is self-sufficiency, is wealth, is abundance. It's in your crowning position. Let's see what's kind of coming between this, the Four of Pentacles, and then the abundance card that we saw here with the Nine of Pentacles. We have some of you are just really busy. So you may not be making the time. You may not literally have the time right now to invest in yourself. And that ultimately is what this month is about for you, because I see the Two of Pentacles reversed, and that is saying to put more into your energetic pot, basically, and focus on yourself a little bit. So as I was saying, you can't do everything for everyone. So for some of you that are like a parent or a partner, and the people around you are taking a lot or requiring a lot of work, this is a reminder for you to sometimes just say, there's only so much I can do. We're going to have to kind of let a few of these things go. So interestingly enough, if you were to subtract a few from the 8, it would still be successful. You could take it down to the 6 of Wands and it's still really good. That might be what's necessary for your personal growth and success. Take a few of these things and delegate or postpone them and focus on what matters, because actually with Wands, you can subtract and almost always be good, right? Ace is good. 2 is good. That's about looking to the future. 3 is great. 4 is awesome. It's relationships. 5 is just work. 6 is great. So you could reduce in almost anything and be okay. Even 7 is fine. That just shows that you can multitask. So you don't have to do everything that you're doing. In this particular suit, you can subtract and be okay. So let go of some stuff so that you can do less but do it better. Make sense? I hope it does. On the bright side, for those of you that might be trying to start a business even amid all of this weird pandemic stuff, this is telling me you've got the seeds of something good. Takes time to grow, but keep working on it. Keep working on yourself. You're on the right track right now. So it's really just about timing, right? Maybe picking the right time when your resources and when the availability of whatever it is that you're trying to do is there. So I like where you're headed. Just focus on environmental cues and also, actual resources in your bank if you need, to look at the money if you're trying to start something up. Many of you are kind of dealing with power this month. And it could be in relationships, it could be at work. We have the Emperor card. It's reversed, but I'll pull it up right. The Emperor is a great card. This is basically saying, I know who I am, I know what I want to do, and I know how to do it, and I'm going to really make it happen. He's actually holding the crystal ball or the earth that you would see in the Two of Wands. So he's learned the lesson, and he kept that lesson with him. He's also holding an Ankh, looks like here, which is power, and that's a great symbol. It could be a sword, but it kind of looks like an Ankh too. So what I would say with this reversed is there someone in your life that kind of is a helicopter dad or mom looking at what you're doing and constantly saying, oh, how about this? Or did you do this yet? Or how about this? And it's sort of like, just give me 5 minutes to finish what I'm working on so I can show you that I've got this under control. Sometimes bosses are like that, coworkers, even middle managers, friends, whoever's in your life that's second guessing your ability to do it, they're actually cheating you of the ability to do it. And you need to have a heart-to-heart with them and just say, you need to give me some space. You need to let me show up. I can do it, but not if you do that. And then kind of like put a line in the sand. If you're that person doing it for others, it's basically going back to what I said. Why are you wasting your time and energy constantly trying to control all of these folks around you? Let them show up. Let them know what you need. Let them show up. Give them the benefit of the doubt. And then if they need to kind of have a conversation like that, you can cite some examples. Say, we talked about it. I gave you some space. You're not making the progress needed. What do I need to do to help you? Because this is frustrating. That's how you would deal with it in a way that's not Emperor reverse energy. So a good leader empowers. They don't take away power or second guess the power. You want to have really good captains around you in your life. Same thing with your partner. You want to have an equal or better so that you can look at someone and think, I really have like a best friend, a partner, someone who is not challenging. Like we're like, you're like king and queen or queen and queen or king and king. You're in the same energy basically, right? So enough said with that. But I feel like on the bright side of the Emperor card, no matter how it's placed in your spread, there's the ability to do more and do more for yourself. So if you do want to kind of move into the energy of being entrepreneurial, self-employed, stepping up, it's definitely there for you. It's a question of how much you want. All right, one of the keys this month as we look into your heart and soul is the Two of Pentacles. This is reversed, but I want to pull it into the upright position. This is kind of a dance, and I like the way they did it. You can see the infinity symbol underneath, and the waves are kind of on top of that. And you can create a new cycle, and you can make a lot work even with a little bit. The Two of Pentacles, sometimes you lose the fact that it's a resourceful card. You can stretch things out further than you think. But there are choices that have to be made, just like the Six of Pentacles. I'll do a little bit of this, a little bit of this, but not that. So the Two of Pentacles is even more restrictive, saying, I really want to focus on this and I don't have any time for these things. So figure out what you want to do. What I like is that she's really looking at what she cares about here in this Two of Pentacles. And the other one is within her reach, but it's not the main focus. So I think there's a choice, and you need to still hold on and keep an eye on the other thing that you're doing. But you can't always do it all. And it's really just about balance here. Work-life balance is one of the other things that will come through with the Two of Pentacles. So if you're working too much, if you're working at home and you don't have areas kind of set up for the work, then that's also something to pay attention to, because you might have distractions from your family, from your neighbors, from your dog or whatever. So I know that if I work in certain places, Apollo is relaxed. When I do this, he's usually okay because he knows I'm talking to you guys. But if there's other places that I work in the house, he'll look at me like, are we going to walk? You're going to pet me? When are we going to eat? And you don't get anything done, right? So set off those areas, cordon off places so that you can focus. And you might be surprised at how effective that is for you. Management, time management, resource management, magic. The Queen of Wands is one of my favorite cards because she's all of those things. We have the little cat here showing that magic side of her. Usually she would be in a desert, and she still is able to make things grow in the desert. So that is showing that growth, even in a period of a lack of abundance, is possible. And great ideas. That's the cool thing with this. This is probably the best management card. I would say even better than the King of Wands. King of Wands tends to show someone on the highest level, like CEO or president or CEO. This is someone who's got their hands in what's going on still. They lead, but they also have a great understanding. They're still in the flow of energy. So you can do anything you put your mind to this month. Also, I feel like there's some bossy energy coming through for Aquarius. Aquarius naturally, and I say it with love, you guys can be stubborn. You can set your mind to something. And that's the cool thing though. When you get that stubborn energy, like I'm going to do it, you're going to do it. So go into that stubborn flow and think, I have this, I'm going to make it happen. And I don't really have time or energy for people around me that are naysayers. I hear them and I'll listen to some of the critical feedback, but I still believe in myself, right? So be the boss, right? We got two cards. Are you ready? I mean, it's time for you to be the boss and to state what you want and own that ability to really call things in. I'll talk about love in a second. This could be a little challenging with the Emperor and the Queen, the Emperor in reverse and this really bossy Queen card. So I feel like there could be a power struggle setting itself up here, but we'll go into that in a second when I go into the expanded forecast. When I'm looking at opportunities this month, which could be tempered by hope or fear, we have the Four of Cups. I really love this illustration for it because we see that extra cup, almost like an ace. Usually in a Rider-Waite-Smith deck, aces come in with a magical hand from the universe, right? Floating in a cloud. Here we see that little cup flying around. Hey, you listening to me? I'm here. It's that higher thought that we don't always pay attention to. So I guess the question for you, this is the dream that I was kind of hitting on earlier. So what is it that keeps you up at night? Maybe as a fear, maybe as a dream, maybe as something that you just want to explore. That little floating thing, that cup around your head, this is really what the message is this month. Are you ready to explore it? Because it certainly is ready to be paid attention to. It's a hidden blessing sometimes. It can be a mixed blessing. It can just be unexpected, but nonetheless something that's coming into your life. Be open, be aware, be willing to try, to taste, to see what it is. It's kind of like food. If you don't take a taste, you're never going to know. So I feel like this is the same thing. Take a sip of that opportunity and see if it's good for you. And don't say no until you really know, right? The final card is fantastic. We have the Magician here. I'm going to pull him up right. He was reversed, but some cool things with this is that you really, let's see, I'm looking to see if all the elements are there. They are. Cool. So we can see Pentacles, Swords, Cups, Wands. Basically, the Magician can do anything he or she sets their mind to, and this is kind of ambiguous here, so I'll say anything that they set their mind to. I think it's important for you to not overextend and not second guess. Magic only works if you believe it, which is why this card is reversed. So the most important thing that you can do to get into your magic, to get into your ability to manifest, is to believe that it's possible, is to focus on every day taking a step towards that manifestation, and to really bring other people into your vision. Sometimes I look at the magician, and it's kind of like an illusionist or a sorcerer or something. So part of the way that you can cast a spell is to push out the heart center, push out the throat energy, and sort of get people into the storytelling of something. So yeah, be willing to do that. Also, if you look at this card, we can see the snake now kind of creating this, a lot of infinity symbols here. This is almost like a chalice too, but there's the serpent again. So your power is in your belief. And that's what we see loud and clear with that. Let's expand the forecast and go a little bit deeper here in the health area. And with health this month, this makes a lot of sense, right? So many of us are dealing with a feeling of isolation, of feeling alone. The caption is actually really positive, and we see a world card underneath it, or above it rather, saying, I know that I'm never alone. And if you kind of zoom in really close on this, you'll see that there's people and they're holding up all these candles, right? And it's basically the whole world. There's no right or wrong way to look at this, which I kind of love. And it's kind of like the Wheel of Fortune or the world energy. Loneliness sometimes is a perception, and it can be a self-fulfilling sort of thing where if you kind of keep cutting yourself off, you feel more and more alone, and then you just don't want to connect. So the encouragement here is to reach out, even if it is virtually or remotely, but even better if there's a chance to just talk to someone as you're getting your mail or something like that. It's important now more than ever to have those connections. You're not alone. You're here with friends today. So there's a lot of places where you can go where there's community, where there's a way to connect. So do that. And again, you're always welcome to show up to my readings for that as well. Looking a little bit more practically at the cards, seeing if there's anything else to focus on in the body. I mentioned earlier focusing on your steadiness when you're walking, and also what can happen sometimes when we have an injury or a lack of balance. It can also be like if you're weak at the knees. Is there a place in your life where you're trying to reclaim power, right? Because sometimes the ankles and the knees can be associated with our own confidence and firmness in our own belief system and in our own power. So focus on that. Focus on feeling strong, and then make your body strong as well if you need to take a little bit more time and energy and put it into fitness and well-being. With the Four of Pentacles, some of you might be holding on to stress here, or kind of like shoulders and heart. So in like if you can do any kind of stretching, even if you can work out and kind of open up the heart center, or if there's any sort of yogic energy or exercises that you can do where you're opening up the heart, it's going to be really beneficial to release some of that tension, because you don't want that to build up. It can cause you don't want the heart to be stressed, right? So focus on opening up and breathing, putting a lot of love into the lung area and also the heart area, and just kind of taking some time there. I think that's important. And then just balance overall. Balance literally and figuratively come through. The Magician card can be a trigger. It can be a substance card. So sometimes when we are stressed or tired, maybe we go to like caffeine or chocolate or whatever it is. This is saying moderate all of those things. And if you find that you're putting too much into that, remember the magic, the energy is already within you. I gave up caffeine. Feels like it's been forever, but it's probably been a month. And you don't really miss it once it's gone. It takes a week to kind of get over it. I've done it before, and I just did it for health and well-being. But it takes a little bit of time. But once you get into a normal energy, you sort of wonder, why was I doing that? Because it's these artificial highs that you're in. So that's why, if you ask, I'm always drinking water. It might be a different colored cup, but it's always water now. So find a way to maybe even do that to clear and cleanse your system out. You'll notice a difference. Your skin will be better. Your energy will be clearer. All right, let's go to wealth. Journey by the moonlight, believe in magic. Thank you. All right, so we have, the card was reversed, but it's really positive, and it's just like the Magician card. I think that the more you can start to believe in what's possible, the quicker it will happen. So it looks like we have Pan, a fairy, and a little gnome here. Some fun pictures here, but believe in possibilities. And also believe in the unknown, because if you don't think it's possible, it won't be. And this includes kind of like developing your intuition, talking to guides, manifesting. So it takes belief and persistence to open up to all of these things. What I like here when I'm looking at wealth is 9 of Pentacles, top of mind, crowning position. You've got what it takes. You just have to tend to that garden that we see here. I like that we see her, instead of kind of sitting there with a bird on her shoulder, she's still looking at the grapes, and she's actually very present now, thinking I worked hard for this and I'm still working hard for it. Don't give up. 9 of Pentacles shows me that you've got a lot to do, and you're doing a lot already. So just keep the momentum going, because 10 of Pentacles is right around the corner, which is a big expansion and could be recognition for you too, okay? The interesting thing with work, as we look in the environment, we have the Queen of Wands. This could be you stepping into that bigger management situation, but there is a block on before that. We have Emperor reversed. Some of you may be dealing with ageism. So you might be younger than expected or older than expected, but you have exactly what it takes. And so there's no room for that in many, it depends which country you're in, but I think there's a lot of laws out there that kind of push away at ageist ideas. So you're never too young and you're never too old to be able to do something. I mentioned the other day, there was this really great poet that spoke at the inauguration. I think she was only 21, 22. Amazing. Proof that you can do it very young. And then Betty White turned 99 and she's still doing great things. Proof that you're never too old to continue kind of doing great things. So don't give up, and don't imagine that age is a limit. It shouldn't be. And if it is, it's a time to get out of there, right? And yes, thank you for the name, Amanda. She's amazing. All right, let me see if there's anything else for this. Oh, last thing, Magician. With this energy in work, I think it's so important for you to think about how you're spending your time and energy. If you're constantly breathing fire into other people's sort of passions and projects, that can be good, and that might be part of your life goal, but don't neglect self. There must be something also that you can work on for personal development. Don't leave yourself out of the equation. You're powerful, you're amazing, you're supposed to be doing some stuff for personal growth too. So set aside some time for yourself. It's not necessarily like binary things. You don't have to just do one or the other, but I want to make sure that there's a little bit of personal growth and fulfillment happening. Because as we look at love and relationships, this is what I was saying about you earlier. There is that sort of paternal maternal energy, the caretaker, but you don't have to do it for everyone. And this is very sort of yin yang. We see balance within the two. So there needs to be reciprocity across the board in relationships, whether it's love or work or friendship. The other person has to show up with the same thing that you're doing. Let's look at love a little bit, since we're in love right now. As I said, there may be a new chance, a new opportunity for it, because we have the Fool and then the Page of Cups, which is a nice combination. So unexpected or fast, and then again, a signifier of love. So I like that. What's kind of interesting for some of you, I'm just going to pull the camera down for a second, is that you're busy, because we have 8 of Wands. So you may not be feeling like I don't have the time for this. There also could be this weird, it could be a May-December romance, or there could be a person that just belies their age. So they're young, but they seem really old, or they're old, but they have a young heart. I was talking about Betty White, for instance, and also Amanda. That's an example of they're kind of the same soul age, but different ages in actual life. So you might meet a partner or a friend that you would think, why are we, this is crazy, but you're gonna, befriend someone that just has different age, but really great match for you on a soul level. So this could just be fun. It could just be platonic if you want it to be. Because this to me seems balanced, and it's not necessarily going straight into romance. But one thing that is important in all of these things is, especially if it is more platonic, you can't fake chemistry, and the Magician card reminds us of that. So if you feel like it is much more friendship, then honor the friendship and let them know that, because I feel like it could be something really cool. And you just have to be honest from the outset. So overall, I like what I'm seeing here. There is an opportunity for love. There's something unconventional about it. Even the 4 of Cups is reminding us of that. Like, this isn't my type. This wasn't the right timing. This isn't what I thought. But if it feels right, then it is right. If it doesn't feel right, then it's not right. And that's the main message for you in love. We do have bossy cards here. So irrespective of the age, we have a queen and an emperor, or a queen and a king. So the king is a little bit stubborn. So this is probably you, but it could kind of cut either way. So one of you may just be a little bit more pushy or decisive. And I think the important thing is just to feel that out and see if you're comfortable with that, right? Let's go to your destiny card, which is a way to kind of look at all the things that you're calling in and your overall path. We have these stuck together, so I'm going to read both of them. I'm just going to read them upright because they're reversed, but they're good messages here. It's interesting that all of your magic cards are kind of reversed. All of your other cards seem to be upright. So I guess I'll leave them as is. So the magic guardian here is saying, unlock the magic within. For whatever reason, she's reversed. I would say it's really important for you to trust your abilities and take a leap of faith and know that believing is seeing, not seeing is believing. If you believe it, you'll see it and you'll call it into reality, okay? So she's reminding you of that. Then we have the moon card here, which is saying that there are downloads that are happening even now. I was talking about dreams, right? So there's a lot of nocturnal messages that come through, or before you go to bed or when you first get up. That's the most powerful time intuitively to be able to unpackage. So you can do what I do, and you can either type it into your phone or dictate it into some, mobile device so that you have that later to type out. Can also take a month or two. So give it some time. The moon card is also highly intuitive, and it's almost kind of more on an instinctual level. So you just feel it. You feel it in your stomach. You feel it in your heart. You feel butterflies. Trust what you feel. And back into the sort of chemistry card of the magician, you don't have to force something that is right. It just really feels right, right? So let's go ahead and review quickly what we've talked about, and then we're going to dig a little deeper. I want to kind of go into the energy of the Fool. I want to look at all of these magic cards and see how I can help you believe in yourself. And then we'll do a wild card here. So let me pull the camera down and let's take a look here at your review of your channeled messages. So the nature totem this month is a supernova, the death and rebirth of a star, basically. So whenever a star gets too heavy or gets too old or whatever, it basically collapses in on itself. And then an explosion ensues, which creates new things, reminding us, of course, that every end is a new beginning. But sometimes we're afraid of that and we hold back. So the solar system that we're in is basically created from a supernova, and we're star stuff from that supernova. So we have elements of that. Carbon is one of them. If you're holding on to something, you're actually holding back something as well. You're not allowing the new thing to come through, right? So by redirecting your energy and passion into something new, you may surprise yourself at the velocity, the speed, and also kind of like just the magnitude with which something can happen. If you're stuck in a job or a relationship, this is a big note for you. Like, why are you staying put? You need to start to see the change happen. And if not, then you need to try to make it happen there. And this next card can also help with that. You have to repackage and experiment. So if you're going to stay put, it has to be maybe under a different role or a different, just a different moniker. Something has to change around a little bit. In your life, whether it's art or practically speaking, I think we always have to imagine like it's kind of like a piece of clay and a potter that's working on one of those wheels. You can kind of mess up and then just smooth it down and start again. Sometimes you have to try it a few times before the shape reveals itself, right? Starting over can be fantastic, really liberating. I've done it many times in my life, and I've really never regretted stepping away from something. I'm a different air sign, I'm Libra, but I think air signs have the capacity to look at things from multiple angles, and when you're finally ready, it's so easy because you know, like, this is what I have to do. I hope that you can get to that point too, where it just feels like I'm shutting the door, I'm not looking back, and I'm really ready for tomorrow. Instead of wishing time away in any aspect of your life, you should be really looking forward to the manifestation of something instead. So instead of wishing something away, wish it into existence and focus on creating that instead. So if you are wishing something away, then it's time to actually walk away from it. So whether it's a relationship and you just kind of yearn for time apart from the person, or a job and you yearn for 6 p.m. or holidays or getting sick or anything crazy like that, it's really a wake-up call from the universe that this isn't the right place to be, and it's time to invest in something. You have the Midas touch. I talked about the supernova bringing about heavy metals, including gold. And so just like the supernova, you can create gold too, but you have to believe it. If you don't believe it, nobody else will. And they're going to really kind of play off of your enthusiasm or lack thereof. Love who you are, love what you do, and if you don't, you have to change what you do and you have to work on self-acceptance, because it's going to create a magnetic force that calls in like-minded individuals. So if you don't love yourself and you hate what you're doing, then you're going to bring some people in your life that are testing that. They're maybe not the nicest folks. So it's time to move on. It's time to move up. If anyone in your life, in any capacity, makes you feel less than anything, it's time for you to orbit away from that person. That's not the best energy for you at this time. And also look at why you're spending so much time, right, with this person. You can't do everything for everyone. We have this beautiful caretaker energy that came through in relationships, and I like it, but you should also be the one that's receiving. The Emperor card in reverse could also just say, I've earned my keep, I'm ready to receive, right? Focus your efforts on things that reciprocate what you're doing. If it's not sort of give and take, then it's just take, right? And so the Magician card is a focusing card. The Emperor reverse card is also saying I'm ready to receive. So just make sure that you're able to receive and focus on things. And if not, if you're constantly putting energy to others and they're not giving it back, it's time to move on. Positive affirmations are so powerful in helping you reset the future. And one way to do this is to use the power of yes. Yes and thank you. So yes, this is happening. Yes, I am ready. Yes, I am worth it. And thank you, universe, for bringing me this opportunity. In dreams, the truth always comes through. What's your true desire? Not what are you doing? What you do for a living or what you studied at school, it matters a heck of a lot less to me than what your soul path is and if you're happy. I was at a reunion a long time ago here, maybe it was like 5 or 6 years ago, and a friend met me for the first time and said, in maybe 10 years, and said, are you happy? He didn't care what I was doing. I told him, he said, well, that's cool, but are you happy? And I thought that was a really powerful question. So at the time, I was just at the point where I was deciding to move on. So it was kind of like, I will be happy soon. So maybe you're at that point too, where you're ready to start something new, but it's not yet, but soon. So figure out how to make it happen if it's soon. It's okay if you're not happy, but you have to take action this month. Breathe life into the dream that you see and send that into a very real orbit around yourself. We talked about that accretion disk around a newly forming galaxy or a newly forming solar system. Basically, you have to kind of look at the chaos first and bring order to it. So give it some time and space, it will happen. The time is now. You are ready. What's holding you back? What are you going to do this month? It's really your homework assignment after you watch this, is to figure out, how can I get a little closer to my next goal, my next dream? Never stop dreaming. That would be another piece that I would say to this. So there's a lot of power at your disposal, but there might be a need to focus on grounding and receiving. Looks like for many of you, your crown chakra is very open. It's just a question of, can I pull through the faith, the power, the heart, that energy? The power needs to come from chakras 1, 2, 3, 4. All of these are needed. And if they're not sort of grounded, then there's just ideas floating here. So you need to ground yourself and then pull the power center up. And I feel like that's a good message here. Balance comes through in 3 different places. So this is grounding. This is a lack of balance. This is achieving balance. So balance on a diagonal is definitely what I see here. So we should talk about that. The Fool card in general is about taking a leap of faith, doing a little bit of research before you do it, and then just going kind of wholehearted towards that. The Page is touching a couple of things here: the busyness in your life, and then also this empowerment, the ability to say no, the ability to say yes. So know that you have the ability to do all of this, and you kind of are like a conductor going through all of this. You're busy right now, but remember, you can subtract things in your life and actually be more successful, because this 9 of Pentacles is successful maybe because you've pulled back and said, I'm going to do less, but I'm going to do it better. And even though we have a bunch of, in your deep past and even in your soul right now, these are cards that don't show a lot of resources. What I see is the capacity for great resources to come through. So you want to keep your head there. That's why this is in the crowning position. Keep your crown space in this sort of growth area. Receive. Remember not to over-orchestrate. Remember not to over-control things. The Emperor doesn't have to prove its power. It can just sort of exist and say, like, I'm ready for things to work. I'm ready for you to show up and do what you're supposed to do. And that can be in a relationship. That can be at school. That can be in a job. 2 of Pentacles, work-life balance. Also focusing on one thing, but not completely dropping the other thing. I just don't think it's possible to do all of this. I really do think some discerning choices should be made, or some delegation may have to happen. And that's why we have a queen, the boss, saying, I'm going to delegate. I'm going to pick some good champions in my life to help me with some of these things, right? And then we have the Four of Cups here, which is a blessing in disguise, a mixed blessing, something you didn't expect. And then the Magician card here at the top, which is really showing you your ability to do whatever you set your mind to, as long as you don't lose focus. You're not alone, but you may need to reach out a little bit. We actually see love at your disposal this month, or new relationships that want to come in. This is a fiercely independent card, the Nine of Pentacles. So sometimes you feel like, I have to do this. The truth of the matter is, it might be better to bring in a partnership. You don't have to do it alone. And you may benefit from having a second set of eyes on it. So yes, you can do it, but you don't necessarily have to do it all on your own. And when we look at other health messages, balance overall, whether it's balancing out your schedule or focusing on ankles and knees, it might be something to take a look at. Grounding yourself. Also, even in diet, you can eat some foods that are a little bit more earth-based. Anything that comes from the earth can help you. So eating root vegetables is one way to do that, for instance. Looking at work here, it looks like you have the potential, like when I look at wealth, growth is really what it's all about, the Nine of Pentacles, whatever you set your mind to. But what's necessary first is balance and getting out of this feeling of it won't get better, or it's always going to be this way. This is the past. You're making some choices, and this is what you can do with it. You should be taking more autonomy or leadership, probably in the long run. This is very entrepreneurial. It's very bossy. It's very outspoken. But one thing that's missing, and I neglected to say it until the review, which is why I enjoy the review as well. There are no swords here, are there? So this is a demonstrative card. That is an expecting card. You might have to start a conversation to get some of this to happen. I just picked up on that now. And it basically says, believe in magic. We see that here. So you may have, at some point in your life, had someone who just said you can't do it. I'm telling you, you can and you should. And if you believe that, great things will happen. In love, we have caretaker. So some of you may be caring for an older parent. You might be caring for even a younger child that's a lot like a burden, maybe because they're going through a difficult time, or it's the first time that you've had to balance like work with parenting, and it's challenging. So try to have fun with the kid too, because they are a kid. The Fool card here is showing, especially if they're younger, play is important to them. It can't be all work, and they're not used to having to kind of probably work from home or study from home as well. So there's a little bit of a balancing act to be had there. The cool thing, though, for some of you is you could forge a new relationship that crosses the boundary of age. The soul is equal, but the age is not. So you might have fun with picking up a mentor in your life, or there might be 10 years between you and the person that you're loving, but it might work out. Just see where it takes you. Be willing to be taken care of as well. That's why this is in a receiving mode. So receive care and love with gratitude. We have another magic card. It's right by the Magician, saying unlock the magic within. And then we have a Moon card saying trust the intuitive messages that are coming through. So hello, psychic, psychic, psychic. There's a lot of intuitive energy that wants to come through this month. It's not necessarily going to come in any way, shape, or form that you expect, because we got the Four of Cups here saying open yourself up. Sometimes people expect it just to be a voice whispered in their ear. No. Dreams, intuition, thoughts that just randomly come into your head. There's so many ways that it could come to you. You could be talking to someone and it feels like all of a sudden that message is coming straight through them. All of the above, right? All right, let's go into the soul path. Let's go a little deeper. Let's look at what might be holding you back. The Fool. What's the opportunity, and how can you both prepare for it and then just kind of like release and allow it to happen? Queen of Cups. So this is really about you having fun, and also letting other people, like a playful energy is so important for a new beginning. So if you can step into this thinking, I'm going to have the time of my life, or I'm going to really make the best of this, the most of this. And to me, there's something a little bit magic here too, because she has what looks to me like it could be like a little cauldron or something. Your passion is your magic. There could be new love associated with this, or new friendship associated with the new beginning. And for many of you, sharing yourself, your experience is part of this. Queen or King of Cups are really a heart-centered cards. So if you're going to do something artistic, Have you ever noticed, like with musicians, for instance, a breakup album may be one of their best because they're at their most raw emotionally, and they just put it all out there on the line. And it's sort of like, wow, that was a lot, but it was really cool to kind of connect with them. That's the true them. And same thing with, any kind of artist or anybody that just, if they a public speaker and they cry and they really feel it and mean it, you're going to start to cry a little bit too, because you're like, wow, I feel what they're feeling. Are you feeling what are you kind of emoting and connecting on all levels? If you can push the emotion out there, joy, hope, fear, whatever, other people will feel it too. And that's where your power exists. So I think releasing and not holding up and not having this fortress around you is going to be really important. Yeah, it's vulnerability. There's power in vulnerability. If people can't see and feel who you are, they're going to have a harder time kind of investing and trusting in what you can do, right? So this is very practical advice if you're trying to get a job. You want to show a little bit of interest and vulnerability. You don't want to be needy, because that also can be crazy. It's sort of like just enough, show just enough to kind of bring people into the fold. All right, let's take a look at, I want to look at the growth here, because it really makes me curious about the Four of Pentacles, Nine of Pentacles, Two of Pentacles. How can you bring this into order? Change and reorganization. We got the Tower card in reverse. What's cool about the Tower card in reverse, especially as you look at this, you're falling towards something, not away from it. When the Tower is upright, it basically is because you haven't taken the required action, because there's something better, because the universe is sick of you waiting. And it's sort of like, all right, we gave you 15 different signs. We're going to pull the rug out, and you're going to have to adjust fast. So when the Tower is reversed, you kind of are on your last warning. And what you need to do is actively participate and change something going on in your life. This is looking at work and resources. So if you're working in a company, maybe there was a reorganization, but it didn't work. If you were in a friendship or another situation, maybe you tried something and it didn't work. Look at this guy. He has a mask on him, and like a drama mask, not just the masks that we're all having to wear right now. This is about releasing the mask and seeing something for what it truly is. No more drama, no more disguises. And so this is an unveiling. It's so interesting. I actually had this dream a couple nights ago, and it didn't make sense until I saw this card, so it's for you. I was seeing people around me pulling like latex masks off their faces, and I just kept seeing different faces. It was a little freaky, I have to be honest. Some of the dreams I have are way out there, and I didn't know what that one was going to be about. And I saw last night, for you too, what looked to me like a supernova. That's how I got this. I just saw this enormous expansion of energy and light, like a big boom, a big explosion. And this Tower card is showing me that. But in order for you to get to that, you have to face what it is that you're passionate about or afraid of. There's really a great period of growth ahead of you, but it does require one more step on your part, maybe even a release, because this is kind of like Alice in Wonderland falling through the rabbit hole, right? At some point, you just have to let go and see where it takes you. So I feel like you're ready to go through, hopefully kind of like a rabbit hole of your own creation. You're going to do something cool, and you're going to go into it and surrender to it, and then become kind of like the magician of whatever it is that you want to do. There's a lot of magic in your reading today. So just know that you're powerful and you're able to create, but you have to let go, and you have to really sort of participate in the recreation of the next step. Don't just let the universe give you whatever it needs to give you. When the Tower is reversed, if you are at a company where there's reorganization, for instance, for those of you working, you go and talk to your boss about what you want to do. If you're in a relationship that's falling apart, you need to have a heart-to-heart conversation with your partner. If your health needs to be improved, this is the day to take the action to be healthier and happier. Whatever, apply it to whatever piece of your life is kind of in disarray. Today is the day. And that's why I think I got so definitive on the last card. I said, the time is now. You are ready. What will you do with this month to create or make that change? That's the Tower. So it's a choice, and the choice will change things, but it's a choice of your own making. Okay? Powerful card, powerful message. And with this, there's an unveiling or kind of like peeling back, right? Wild card. Let's see what else the universe wants to bring through for you. I also do a second wild card at the end after the meditation, so stick around and I'll do one more for like the week ahead. But this is really for the month and a general message for you. So in the context of February and just in your soul in general, what can we do to help you be the best that you can be? The 10 of Pentacles, fantastic. So the 10 of Pentacles is the completion. I like that we even see a continuation of the grapes here that were there from before. So let me pull the other card up, the 9, and we'll look at the 9 and the 10. So this month, many of you are focusing on finishing things up and starting to reap some of the rewards for the work that you've done, or putting in the work so that you can eventually do that. This is recognition. This is also that mentorship energy, possibly meeting someone that's older than you and you feel this kinship with them. So it could just be this great friend that you've made at an odd point in your life, but I feel like there's loyalty and friendship on the horizon for you. And success. The 10 of Pentacles is fantastic for business, for growth, for personal development. We're looking at a better year or two in the future here for you. All that's required from you, though, is to imagine that you haven't seen everything, that more is yet to come, that you're willing to make the balance and choice necessary in order to recreate and reforge. And then as we look at the soul path, your vulnerability pulls people in just enough to let them know how passionate you are, how invested you are, and how real you are, right? Because those types of leaders, those types of human beings are so much easier to connect with. Releasing something that doesn't work for you, someone that isn't truly there for you, taking an active role in recreating something that you care about in your life. And then accepting and welcoming in the abundance that you so diligently work towards creating. Remember the other powerful card that I had here, the power of yes. Yes, and thank you. So yes, this is happening. Yes, I am ready. Yes, I am worth it. And thank you, universe, for bringing this to me. This is your yes and thank you card. For some of you, there could be love and marriage, because this can also indicate that. I usually look at 10 of Cups more as that, but this is one where it could be also like a partnership that really makes sense, but it's family. So I feel like the friendship that you're making, or the people or the things that you're kind of calling into your life right now, it's going to set into motion this new family, this chosen family in the year or years to come. So some exciting stuff for you, really exciting stuff for you, Aquarius. I like what I see. And what you have to deal with isn't too bad. And that Tower card, remember, it's in the soul space. So it's a choice. But I think that the wake up call here is, this is coming. So pay attention to your dream and your intuition, and what are you doing to kind of make it happen. All right. So before I get into the meditation, just a couple of quick notes here. First of all, I pinned a comment. Actually, I didn't pin a comment. I'm going to do that right now. If you want to get in touch with me, I'm going to put this here in the comment space right now. You can always go to my website, and that'll help you figure out how to follow me on social media, when my next videos are. All of that stuff is there. Also, like what decks I'm using, et cetera, et cetera. If you would like to join me on social media, and I'd love for you to do that, I'm going to put a link there as well. Instagram and Facebook are great because I will put daily reminders of the readings. I also do recaps. I take a picture of all those index cards that I write, and I put them up on social media. On YouTube, I'll use stories to remind you as well, and I also use the community tab. On Twitter, I will tweet out on a daily basis a reminder of what I'm doing. And on days that I don't tweet, I might put other stuff out there, so it's worth following me. So my social media link, if you want to get in touch, is right here. And if you like what you see, you can click the join button and contribute on a monthly basis to help me get more cards if you'd like to. You can also join me on Patreon. And this is another way to help out. And actually, Maria just put that link there. So thank you so much. I'll put the PayPal one as well, because I know some of you just enjoy doing a one-off sometimes. Okay, so I'll do some more at the end, including how to get my book. But let's meditate now. And at the end of this meditation, I'm going to talk a little bit about like one last message coming through, and we'll try to integrate, make sure that there's nothing that we've missed. I think that this meditation should focus on surrendering to your power and into whatever it is that the future is going to bring to you. So let's look at the dream, and let's imagine that you're the magician and you're going to conjure the dream. I think that's what I want to do for this. By the way, one thing that you can do that will really help my channel is just to hit the thumbs up button. I think we have like 160 likes, so thank you so much. We have a bunch of people in the room. So if anyone else can hit the thumbs up, that helps. When this is on replay, you can comment, you can like, and you can share it. It's a great way to help other people discover the content here. Okay, close your eyes. I want you to see yourself. Let's see, we've done a lot with the beach. Let's do the forest. And I think we'll actually just stay in the middle of the forest. We really want to be around the trees. And I was looking a little bit at this card here. Maybe there's a little tiny area here like this where you're in the inside. There's a little place where you can see the moon. Okay, this is a cool card to look at. So I like to imagine that it's a summer night. You're in the middle of the forest. You can see the moon from wherever you're at. There's a nice little grassy place where you can sit down, and you can see the stars too. That's why I kind of like to always have a clearing so you can see where you're at. So as the moon is rising and the stars are in the sky, I want you to look at all the fireflies around you. And the fireflies are there to remind you that even in the darkness, there is light. And we forget, even at the center of this earth, there's this beautiful molten core with heat, with energy. It's that core that protects us, creates the electromagnetic shield around this planet. So I want you to go into your own heart space and imagine that you could light up like the fireflies around you. And call in what it is that you want. I used them as a totem last month, and I did a little research on the fireflies. And the cool thing is it's basically sort of like a mating call. They're calling in their partner. But you could be calling in your own future whatever that you want to. So it could be a dream, it could be a goal, it could be an ambition, it could be a partner. It could just be happiness. So I want you to imagine that your heart and your soul is kind of lighting up the inside, and it's starting to send out this signal to the universe. So imagine with each breath that you take, just like the fireflies around you, you start to light up. First, it's the heart. Then you start to see all the chakra systems opening up. Pretty soon, it's just your entire body. And when you take all the colors and bring them together, that sort of additive collection is white. So you see this beautiful, sort of resplendent, bright, bluish white kind of energy around you. And you're starting to feel lighter by the second. So before we kind of leave the earth, I want you to put something down on the planet. Imagine that there's a little rock. You're going to put the rock and wrap a string around the rock, tie it tightly, and just know that almost like a kite, you're going to be able to follow this etheric string back down. So we've grounded your energy. You can also take your heart center and kind of loop a little loop around the center of the earth and tie it and just say, I'm going to come back to you. And now just let yourself flow and go up towards the moon, because you're starting to realize that you're shining as brightly as the moon itself. Beautiful silver blue, bluish white light. And as you start to rise into the sky, look down at the planet beneath you. Look at all the little lights, all the cities, all the mountains. Everything from this distance almost seems like you're looking at a miniature version of the world. That anything is within your grasp. You could just reach out, you could touch what you're trying to create. You could just take a little jump and be exactly at the continent or the city or the country that you want to be in. The truth is that things are closer than you think they are in life and in manifestation. So this perspective is reminding you that it's always within reach. It's always just right there. So I want you to imagine, as you're kind of shining as brightly as the moon, that you maybe pull out your magic wand, and I want you to start to create in the night sky whatever it is that you want to call into your life, this sort of constellation, this map. And as I play the singing bowl here, I want you to see that glow and see it to come into life. You're going to step into that. So maybe it's a portal in front of you. You could kind of create a whirling light of energy and then paint what you want in that portal and then walk into it. And that's what we're going to do now. So just breathe energy, breathe insight, breathe your passion into this dream. And we're going to walk through that portal and then pull an extra card and see what's coming through. Take one last deep breath, and as you exhale, imagine that there is light coming from your heart, your lungs, your soul. You're pushing that energy into this portal that you've created, and it comes to life. It's almost as if, like in The Wizard of Oz, you see it go from black and white to color. And at this point, I want you to reach in. There's another hand there that's pulling you. That's your future self. And it's pulling you through the portal so that you can see what you've created, what's happening, what's possible. Take a moment to look around, to feel it, to see it, to let it really sink in. This is happening. This will be. I am creating this. And imagine that your future self gives you a hug and plants a seed in your heart of this vision. And as you take a deep breath, close your eyes, exhale and open, you find yourself back on the planet, back by the little rock where you had tied your sort of energy to it. You unfasten that now. Keep that rock, hold it in your hand for a second, and just be grateful for where you're at. If you do have a stone by you, you could even infuse that vision in the stone and start to imagine that this will be your power stone. You can go back to it, and whenever you feel like you're off center a little bit, you can use that. That's a way that you can program crystals. You can put a dream into it, you can put a prayer into it, and then you can kind of call to it and say, all right, ground me in my purpose, ground me in my vision, bring me back to that which I seek. And that can be your little power stone, okay? Gently open your eyes if you haven't already. And let's pull one final card to see if there's any messages to look at for the week ahead, usually when I pull this last card. We have the Three of Pentacles. So it is written here. So the card was reversed, but the cool thing with this is it's basically showing you the power of the written word. Also, if there's anything that you are creating, it is time for recognition. So some of you might be finished with something because this can indicate graduation. This can indicate a higher learning that's already taken place. For some of you, because the card was reversed, it's a reminder to go back to that, to something that you've always wanted to do or you studied but you're not doing. This is a return to that deep knowledge. If you are a writer or a composer or a painter, this is about putting it to paper. For the rest of us that are just practically kind of going about day-to-day life, this can also be about the power of just writing. So sometimes when you write, like I did here on this third to last card or fourth to last, this is an example of what you can put in a little power journal. You can say, yes, I am ready. I am doing this. I am more than worth it. This is happening. Yes, it is. Yes. Writing that, tracing over it, it's really, really important. I have a question that I ask in my book a lot to the main character, which is, I think not every person that he meets, but a lot of the people that he meets will ask, are you ready? And it wasn't accidental. It was sort of like, there's this eventual change that has to happen. And he's asked many times, are you ready? You ready? You ready? And it's eventually he's ready. So I've been asking all of you that for a while. Are you ready? Ready to do it? Because now's the time. Okay. So some exciting things for you. I really like that we end on this. It's time for recognition. It's time for higher learning. It's time to share what you've done. It's time to get back to work, right? So I'm looking forward to seeing how that works for all of you. Let me just wrap everything up here real quick. I want to talk a little bit about my book. It's a nice natural segue since I just did. If you're interested in getting my book, I'm going to put a link to it. It's available at a lot of retailers, actually, both nationally and internationally. A few of those include Amazon, which is easy to get it on, Barnes & Noble, Walmart. Internationally, it's available at some places like Blackwell's or even in Waterstones or Fish Pond. There's a bunch of places, basically. You can look at my website for the full list. There's a few of them. And the book that I've written is sci-fi and fantasy. So I know a lot of what I do here is much more kind of like soul work, but this is in a different level. So if you like Lord of the Rings or Dune and you want to take a far off adventure and then also read from the perspective of a psychic, I think you'd like it. You can check it out. As I said earlier, all this information is on my website. I already put up the links for the social media, but again, just a reminder to follow me there if you can. My handle is @NicholasAshbaugh. On Facebook, I actually have the blue check mark, so make sure that you get that. There's been people that have impersonated me before. But you can just go to my website for a list of handles. Twitter's the only one because of character limits that's different, and it's @Ashbaugh. And another way that you can give back is through PayPal. And I'm going to put a link to this right now. I don't use this all the time, but I know some of you prefer that and doing just like a one-off. And just a reminder, in case you enjoyed today's deck, it's a new one and it's courtesy of all of you. Thank you for giving back to me. If you happen to be watching this on replay, there's one other way that you can contribute, and it's simply by clicking the applaud button. The applaud button is right there, and it's next to the thumb up and thumb down. You have to be on a desktop or an Android device for that to work at present. If you have limited resources, want to show support, a thumb up means a lot. So hit the thumbs up, hit the subscribe button, opt into the notifications. I also have a newsletter. And if you go to the social link that I have, it's actually at the bottom of that page with all my social links. So you can sign up for a free newsletter. I send it out once a month. And it will remind you of upcoming readings. And I basically send it at the beginning of each month. So all of the live ones from the previous month, I actually send a link so you can go straight to them and you don't have to navigate YouTube. So anyway, quick programming note. I probably should have said it sooner, but I will be doing a live reading on the 31st. I'm going to make it a little bit more than I originally intended because it's corresponding to a retrograde. So it will be about retrograde and love and relationships, really opening up the heart chakra, healing it. So it's not just about like loving others, but it can be, but it's also about loving yourself and forgiving yourself. But because retrograde's coming around, I'm also going to pull some cards just for the retrograde and how to manage it. And a retrograde energy would very much be the Tower reverse, which is why it's coming through for you. So tune in on the 31st if you can. Probably over the weekend, I'll be doing something on Instagram. So I'm going to try to give you a link straight to my Instagram since I don't always have that handy. So feel free to like me on Instagram. I'll do a little chat. Sometimes I do a Friday or Saturday chat there, and I'm going to do another one maybe next week or the week after here on YouTube. So more to come. I have to figure out what dates work for myself, for my moderators, and figure it out. So in the meantime, take care of yourself. Thank you so much for being present today. Have a great month ahead. You have some really fantastic cards and some opportunities to grow. So I look forward to seeing where it takes you. I'll be back again on Sunday for Pisces. So feel free to join me if that's in your chart, if you just want to hang out. I look forward to seeing you. Take care, everyone. Thanks again, Maria and Dakota, for your help today. Have a great Friday and a great weekend ahead.